Hey, what's up everyone? James from Junkyard Fox. Thank you so much for joining me, and we are overdue for another knife review. So today we're taking a look at this beauty right here. This is the Rocca Kumpanni knife. You have seen us using it in several videos these last couple of years, and today we are finally giving it its own review, putting it through its paces, and let you all know what we think about it. So, thank you for joining me. Let's get started. So before we commence testing, of course, let's go ahead and get the specs out of the way. Now, this is the Rocca Kumpanni knife made by Paul Rocca. Paul Rocca is an American craftsman, an American maker, so of course this is an American-made product. He's a one-man shop, so he makes everything. I'll have the link down below to his website, so you can check him out. He has some really great designs. I mean, not only does he have this one, but he has a really sweet cap heart and some really old world, like French trade-looking knives as well that look really nice, really beautiful, so be sure to check him out. As for this blade right here, the Kumpanni is finished for companion, for those wondering. Now, the overall length is 9 inches. The blade length is 4.6 inches with a thickness of 1/8 inch thick. 90-degree spine with a Scandivex grind. See if you can see it right there. The steel is CPM 4V. That is a carbon type of steel that is tougher than A2 with the wear resistance on par with CPMS 35VN. The weight is 6.9 ounces. It does have micarta scales. Now, this is an older version. I've had this one since about late in 2019, early 2020. This one does not have a lanyard hole at the end, but the newer versions actually do. And in case you were so inclined to order this with a sheath, it does come with a JRE Industries sheath, just like you would if you ordered from LT Wright or something like that. So, really nice, excellent blade. So of course, just looking at the design, it's not that hard to tell that this is very much based mainly on a bushcraft knife. It's gonna focus on that, a lot of batoning and whittling, carving, that kind of stuff. So that's mainly what we're gonna focus on today. Also, side note, if we look really sweaty, that is because it is 104 degrees outside right now and we are cooking. So don't say we don't love you, because it is torture being outside right now. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and start test number 1, which of course we do have ourselves a little pine log here. So we're going to do the basics, of course, some batoning, some feather sticking, striking the ferro rod in the back, see how that works. So let's get to it. Test out that spine. Oh yeah. So as you saw, test 1 was a success. It handled that one stick fire beautifully. Of course, that Scandivex grind is like a wedge, just breaking through the wood. And of course, it's also going to be great for feather sticking, whittling, that kind of stuff. That 90-degree spine was nice and sharp. Got that fire going very quickly. And now we do have some yucca stalks here for test number 2. We're going to go ahead and carve a figure 4 deadfall. Hopefully we can land ourselves some breakfast to do some game processing. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's get started. Now keep in mind, this is not meant to be a full-on step-by-step tutorial to make a figure 4 deadfall. If you're interested in that, I will have the link up here in the corner for that video. We already have a tutorial on that, so check it out. So let's go ahead and get started. Figure 4. All right, now let's slice this off. All right, well, sunset is just around the corner, and we are getting ready to set this trap for the evening. So we got some peanut butter. Rodents love peanut butter, and I'm gonna just put some sunflower seeds as bait. We have the rock here, so let's get this going. This is a heavy rock. Fingers crossed it's not too much of a nuisance here. There we go. All right, so as always, we're gonna place debris around the trap so we can get the animal to come directly from the business end. And it can't escape, it can't jump out of the way as the rock falls. There we go. So, test 2 was a success. Figure 4 deadfall. Well, it's morning. I did set up a second trap. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to have been any action. So, yeah, no pack rat for breakfast for me. So let's bring these down. Well, folks, it is the next morning. As you saw, sadly, our traps were not triggered. That's just the reality of hunting and trapping and fishing. It's not a guarantee. It's not like going through a drive-through. You know, there's a lot of luck involved, a lot of variables. Now, looking back in hindsight, these prey animals such as pack rats and rabbits, they're very nervous. They're very skittish. So what I probably should have done is left them there for about a day, just so the animals can get used to these traps being in their environment and slowly letting their guard down and being enticed by the bait. But oh well. Now, I can't speak on how well this blade would have done with a rabbit or a pack rat once again, but if you recall a couple of months ago, we did take this on a camping and fishing trip. I'll have the link to that video up here in the corner, and this worked beautifully processing for rainbow trout, and it worked wonderful. It worked very well. So once again, I can't speak on how this would work with small game like mammals, but with fish, it worked great. Also, carving the figure 4 deadfall trap, it worked wonderful as well. Just one thing to note that I did notice while I was carving the notches on this one is because of that Scandivex, which is a little chunkier, it's a little bit more round like that as opposed to a straight modern Scandi like this, is when you're carving these notches, it works great, but it's not as effective. For example, if I was using like a Garberg or a Consbull, I feel like it would have just carved these just a little bit smoother. Just not by a long shot, not by a large margin. It's just something to note. That's just geometry of the blade, but it still worked great. Now, we're already out here, folks, so I did have a plan B in case we didn't catch anything, and I did bring potatoes and sausage for breakfast. Just like game processing, this type of blade would not be my first choice. I would want something thinner with like a flat grind. However, I like to get knives out of their comfort zone, and just like this did great with trout, I'm fairly certain this thing's going to do great for making some breakfast. So let's get to it. Beautiful thin slices. Look how thin that is. That is pretty damn impressive. This is definitely one of the better Scandi type blades that I've ever used for food processing. And this is not a surprise to me whatsoever because I've used this, I've had this knife going on 4 years. So, I've used it plenty of times in the kitchen, and I already knew that this was going to do well in this category. spice time. Some blackening. Seasoned salt. And black pepper. Chow time. Well, folks, here we have it. Some sausage and potatoes, a very simplistic breakfast. Not a lot of ingredients, not a lot of complications here. So, olive oil, sausage, potatoes, a couple of spices, a nice little campfire. That's all you need. Hearty little breakfast right here. So, camp cooking, kitchen prep for the blade, that was a success. Well, folks, I have consumed my breakfast, and now I'm going to start heading on out of here because it is about 8:30 in the morning, and that sun is climbing, getting very hot out here, and the bugs are annoying me as well. So I'm about to head on home. So my final thoughts on the Rocca Kumpanni blade. This thing is outstanding. Now, obviously, because of the design with the Scandivex, the spear point, the 90-degree spine, and the simplistic barrel-shaped handle, obviously this thing is going to shine as a bushcraft knife or general camping knife. So, of course, as you saw it, it easily worked through a one-stick fire, batoning, feather sticking, striking the ferro rod, works great there. Also, you know, when it was doing the more intricate, delicate carving notches for the figure 4 deadfall, it excelled at that as well. So if you're in the market for a great bushcraft blade, if you're the kind of person who is carving a lot of bow drill sets and, you know, a lot of notches like the deadfall, that kind of stuff, this is definitely going to be a blade that you're going to enjoy. Once again, keep in mind that I have owned this blade for 4 years, so I've used it countless times, you know, whether I'm just using it in my kitchen or just whittling in my front porch, having a beer, stuff like that. So I know what I'm talking about. This is not a first impressions type video, something like that. So I got to say, very much a great blade. And as you saw, not only is it a great bushcrafter blade, but I would say just a general camping blade. It does very well. As you saw in the past video when we were camping and we gutted the trout, I mean, this thing was like a zipper. It was just opening the bottom of that fish to gut it, just very easily, very seamless. Once again, as I've mentioned many times, my preferred blade is something like a flat grind, very thin blade when it comes to processing game or camp cooking. But this works extremely well, at least with fish. Sadly, we were not able to capture a small mammal to try it with them. But once again, with the fish, it worked great. And as you saw with the potatoes and the sausage, I mean, this thing was able to get in there and make some ridiculously paper-thin potato slices. Now, normally, Scandi grinds don't really slice. They kind of push apart food. It gets very messy very quickly. So once again, I prefer a flat grind. But as you saw with this one, it works very well. It's one of the better food-friendly type of Scandi blades that I've owned personally. Once again, big thank you to Paul Rocca, American-made craftsmanship right here. I have the link down below to his site so you can check him out. Check out Kumpannis in different finishes. For example, different colored micarta, or some of them have wooden handles, stuff like that. And you know, just outstanding. And for what he sells them for $208, something like that, that is a steal for an American-made blade. So Paul, apologies that it took me almost 4 years to film a review for this blade, but I gotta say, this thing passed with flying colors. And that's about it for me, folks. So thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give me a thumbs up. Really helps us a lot. Also, comment down below if you have any questions, comments, suggestions. And I'll see you guys next week with another video. Now go outside and get your boots dirty.